you doing, kids? It's the Brainsmasher. I've got a new series idea for you I want to do for the month of October. Today is October 6th, and I'm already kind of falling behind on this, so I want to hold myself to shooting 4 videos and release them each weekend. I'm holding myself to this, even though I'm working 65 hours a week. To celebrate the month of October, I need a distraction from all the fucking chaos in the world right now. So decided to shoot a video about DOOMTOBER. The leaves are turning here in Iowa. The weather's getting colder. It's going to be hoodie weather soon. The leaves are turning, and one of my favorite hobbies, second to metal, is nature, getting out in the trees. And so that's where we are. We're at City Park here today. So who knows what's going to go on behind me. You might see a couple little old ladies, but we're going to talk about a couple of records that I love listening to because of this time of year, because of the weather, because of the leaves turning. Things that I feel like have a really strong correlation with this time of year. I've been listening to so much music lately that is just visceral and has just an instant impact sensually, in a way, or like, I don't really know how else to put it, but I really feel like this time of year can be the impetus to getting into music that has a lot more depth to it, and I've kind of missed that about music. So I've picked out every video I want to do, just like 4, maybe 5, maybe some runner-ups of some albums that I'm going to call DOOMTOBER classics. So without any further ado, this isn't like the best, and yeah, it's just going to be a handful here and there, and I hope you like it. So if you don't like it after October's over with, then it's over with. So yeah, DOOMTOBER, here we go. First one, I couldn't do this list without including Stormcrow Fleet. Skepticism's first albums? I should have looked that up first, ahead of time. But this is the one I think most people know them for. It is an absolute funeral doom classic. For its time, when it came out in '95, I would say there wasn't really a thing such as funeral doom. But this is the absolute template for what was to come of funeral doom. It has this kind of choir, Hammond organ-y kind of undertone to the guitars, which are just huge, chugging, churning chords, but this underlying sort of funereal organ kind of bass to it just gives it this absolute fog of mysteriousness to it. And then overall, the overall mastering and sound quality and production to the whole thing is really, really muted and kind of indistinct, like something like Transylvanian Hunger is. And that air of mystery, I think, just makes it all the more alluring to just digging into the utter, desperate, bleak atmosphere going on to the music. I mean, there's a lot of familiarities that will be no stranger to. The chugging guitars, the super huge tone to everything. Some people actually, I think, have kind of a problem with the overall sound quality to it, being that it is so weirdly muted and kind of faint in a way. It doesn't have like a strong visceral tone to it. And to that end, Svart Records did do a remaster reissue of it a couple of years ago. I picked it up. I kind of liked it. You know, I could kind of go either way. It's nice to just kind of like peek behind the veil and hear the album with a different style to it. But the album, and the way I'll always know it in my head, is the way it is originally presented when Red Stream released it back in, I think, '95, if I'm not fucking that up. Next, we've got something that I'm kind of new on the boat to. When I first heard it, really didn't really care for it. I immediately turned to 40 Watt Sun when I first heard Warning, watching from a distance. I felt like this was a little bit, let's just not even bother with what I thought and was wrong about it. This is one of the most emotionally draining records I think I've ever heard. Trying to get my glare game on there. It's impassioned and desperate. There are these, I've been trying to figure out ways to put this into words. First of all, let's talk about Patrick Walker's vocals. He is an amazing vocalist. Or sometimes if you can't really picture the human behind the microphone, I think he kind of sounds like a kind of a gnarled, trollish kind of old man, like maybe the old dude from Aqualung, curled up and hooded or something. It kind of sounds like that to me. But Patrick Walker, actually, that's just his voice. That's the way he sounds, and I love how unique of a singer he is. And ordinarily in this kind of music, I'm not really all that concerned with the vocals in Doom. But Patrick Walker on Warning just makes it. It's all about his singing, and the songwriting that has gone into these songs is really, really great and adept and sorrowful and just enrapturing. But Patrick Walker's vocals just make it so immensely just immersive. You really, honestly, like, I wouldn't say this about any other record, but you've got to really be careful about when you listen to Warnings Watching from a Distance, because it can really take a hold of any potentially negative emotions that you may have going on at the moment and just fucking drown them in utter sorrowful tears. It is a power that I don't think any other album has in such a potency, if you will. Next, I want to talk to you. I couldn't do this list without an album from Moregion, Solinari. These guys do have two other tremendous, amazing records, but I picked Solinari. I just feel like it's their best. It's not unequivocally. I would certainly entertain other people saying that it is otherwise, but Moregion started out as kind of a more straightforward death metal band. In fact, I think the members of this band were also in a lot of other types of scenes throughout their area. Hardcore, punk, thrash kind of stuff that I'm not familiar with, so I'm not going to speak too much about it. But I do think that Moregion is kind of unique in bringing to the Doom foray a more abrupt and more effective kind of death metal element, but not in a way that interrupts the emotive, passionate atmosphere to the overall thing. It's so tastefully done. These songs are really, really complex and intricate and super well recorded and performed. Of course, Relapse Records put this out in 99. Yeah, killer record. But there's, like I said, there's this abruptness to the rhythm section to it that just, it posits these sorrowful moments and these elaborate tapestries of emotion, but then like the drums and the changes in the tempos, they just like somehow slam them on your head periodically. So it's like this kind of a new dimension being entertained to the doom metal genre. Something that I don't really think any other doom metal band that I've heard anyways do as well as Moregion. So last in this one, like I said, nothing's best, nothing's tops, nothing's ranked here. This is just a bunch of picks. I have chosen Despond by Memphis, Tennessee's Loss. These guys have been in the scene for a really long time, perfecting their sound, and this one came out on Profound Lore, I want to say 2011. I love it when the year is on the back of the thing. Isn't that great? Such an artistic and just creative way of portraying despondency and absolute sorrow and just abject sadness. I don't think I've ever heard another record that just makes me feel like, damn, dude, you're on a whole nother level of bummer. And just that's what it is. It almost like it takes that negativity in such a familiar way, but it kind of offers it in a newly authentic way that is like unnervingly and unsettlingly human and relatable, and in that way its potency is just fucking undeniable. Yeah, there's lots of like clean tone passages going on here, so there's not it's not like rife with a bunch of chunky boring stuff. By the way, like I think a lot of stonerish kind of doom metal albums are kind of boring, so I hope that makes you maybe a little more interested in checking out a lot of these albums, because I think these are like the highlights of the genre among a lot of more traditional kind of boring sort of stuff. So again, check out Despond by Loss. I mean, the other one that came out after this, Horizonless, is no slouch whatsoever, but I think these guys really do a great job of using a lot of diversity and variety to their songwriting styles, and there's a lot of like these interlude kind of passages using like keyboards and spoken word kind of stuff that just drive home the overall picture super well. So for DOOMTOBER albums for you to check out, I hope you like this series. We'll see you next time. Thanks.